Some new tunes as we get deep into the summer. Our first off-season update of Season 2 of the Belleville Sens podcast. David Foote and Brock Ormond here with you. Approaching mid-July, the free agent frenzy has passed for the most part. We do have one signing to pass along and a couple of departures we'll update you on this week. But the big news out of the American Hockey League is the schedule is out. The 2024-25 AHL schedule is out. You'll be able to plan your winter, decide when you want to come to CAA Arena and watch the B-Sens in action. We'll highlight some of the key games and a little bit more discussion this week on the show. Again, David Foote, Brock Ormond here. Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you're listening because these off-season updates will be a little bit sporadic as news breaks, so make sure you don't miss anything by subscribing to the show immediately wherever you're listening to the pod. How's it going, Brock? Good to see you.
It's going great, David. Nice summery tunes to get us into the off season, to the meat of the off season, I guess. And schedule release is out, and this is my favorite day of the summer. When you got the schedule release, everything's all laid out for 72 games next year, and couldn't be happier to see all of what the Sens are going to do for next season.
It's a highly anticipated day, not just by the staff and the players and the people who are, trying to plan ahead to make sure all these games go off without a hitch for the fans. But for the fans, it's an exciting day when the schedule comes out because the phones have been ringing off the hook basically since the season ended in May, with people wanting to get on board with the club and to support the team. But everybody wants to know when the hockey is going to start. And now we know, again, that the season will begin on October the 11th, Friday, October the 11th, the Sens will visit the Rochester Americans at the Blue Cross Arena. First time the Sens will face Rochester in a season opener. The following night, they'll have to go through the festivities again in Syracuse against the Crunch. And then the home opener presented by CAA this year is Saturday, October 19th, when our other upstate New York rival, though they may consider themselves more central New York, the Utica Comets will be here on Saturday, October 19th, followed by the first matinee of the season at CAA Arena on Sunday, October 20th against Syracuse. So those are the first 4 games of the season. There's lots more information coming in terms of promotional nights and giveaways and things of that nature, but the schedule is out, and at least we know when and where we're going to kick things off this year, and it's always nice to know when the first home game is going to be as well. Yeah,
exciting stuff, and 3 games against teams that Belleville had good battles with last year in Rochester, Syracuse, and Utica, and a different opponent as well. The Comets were a team that didn't make it to the postseason last year. They gave Belleville a good ride through the whole season, the whole 8-game regular season series, and now 8 more games against Utica, and it all starts October 19th, at least here in Belleville, and there's some interesting kind of stretches of time that Belleville has that they get a long homestand here, a big road trip there, and it's all about the October games are very interesting because everybody's so excited to start the season, and those points and wins, they do matter. They don't get wasted in those months, and Belleville's found that out a couple of times throughout their franchise history since the move from Binghamton. So those games early on in the season can really set the tone for your campaign if you play your cards right, just like the Sens did last year on the road, shutting out the Hershey Bears in their banner-raising night too. So
yeah, that's right. The Belleville with a little bit of experience in spoiling the opening night party for sure. And again, they'll get 2 cracks at that on the road, October 11th and 12th in Rochester and Syracuse respectively. And again, before the bad weather hits, that's not a terrible time if you're interested in traveling to see the Sens on the road. Syracuse and Rochester are not that far, so a little black and red in the stands on opening weekend might be nice for the boys ahead of coming back home for the home opener presented by CAA the next weekend against the Utica Comets. Again, 72 games. It's a grind. It's a long schedule. Belleville's going to play 7 games in the month of October. They're going to play 9 in November. December and January, they play 11 games each. February is going to be the busy month this year. 13 games in the month of February. So 13 games over 28 days. And that'll be pretty well split between home and away. Belleville with 4 back-to-back sets in the month of February as well. But nice news, just 1-3-3. It comes late in the season. They'll play 12 games in March. That's where that 3-3 is. And it's not too bad. It involves a couple of games at home and a trip to Toronto. And then the final month of the season, April, they play just 9 times, of course, before the Calder Cup playoffs begin for 2025. So it's pretty evenly spread out, I think, in terms of home and away. There are some pretty lengthy, I guess, trips and lengthy home stands as well, as one would expect. But it doesn't look like a terrible schedule for the Belleville Senators.
No, and the start in Blue Cross Arena in Rochester is always going to be fun because that rink is very well suited for the type of atmosphere that bestows a home opener and a season opener. And for Belleville, getting 2 cracks at it again with Rochester and Syracuse should be interesting to see how things go. Of course, both teams in Belleville themselves look awfully different from last year, so it's going to be just testing the waters, feeling things out, and seeing how things go. But the early season is always very exciting and interesting because there's new players to talk about, new things to kind of go through. And during the season, the Sens should be well versed in this North Division again because they play them a lot, as is customary for the AHL in the divisional format. But few new opponents or newish opponents, so we'll see how that all shakes down.
It'll be a couple less games against Laval. They'll play Laval and Toronto 10 times instead of 12 times against Laval last season. They're going to play a couple more games, so they'll play 4 times against Hershey, 4 times against Bridgeport, 4 times against Wilkes-Barre-Scranton. So that is in an upgrade or an addition of games anyway. Usually it was just 1-1 with those teams. Cleveland is in the division, but they'll only play them 4 times because of distance, and then they'll see the following teams once at home and once away: Lehigh Valley Phantoms, Hartford Wolfpack, Springfield Thunderbirds, and for the first time in 2 seasons, the Providence Bruins will make their return to the friendly city, and the Belleville Sens will head back out to Rhode Island for the first time in a couple seasons. Always nice to mix in those new opponents, and there's something about playing an Original 6 affiliate, I think, that is exciting for us and exciting for the fans as well. I know there's a lot of Bruins fans in the Bay of Quinte region.
Yeah, true professional atmosphere, and you're right, David. I do myself know a few Bruins fans in the region. Our old colleague Ryan Pettigrew was Bruins fan. He's now in Kingston, and I know a couple of people that bleed black and gold, and it's not any different with the Providence Bruins. They are so excited to see Providence come to Belleville, and like you said, it's been a couple of years, and so things look way different with that team, I would imagine, because 2 seasons is a long time, and so not being able to see them. So the Bruins, and they come early too. They come in late October, which really
October
helps.
30th, I was going to say,
exactly.
is the date to see the affiliate of the Boston Bruins. And details for single game tickets, we'll let you know now, will be coming out probably near the end of August. But you can right now put down a deposit for group experiences or a flex pack or, of course, a season seat membership. There's some interesting perks now that the schedule is out for season seat members this year as well. So you can head to BellevilleSens.com. You can email tickets@BellevilleSens.com if you're interested in getting in on a season seat membership, a flex pack, or a business elite package, anything like that is not a single game seat. Our ticket staff would be more than happy to help you out with right now. Well, maybe let's talk about some of those benefits for the season seat members, because one thing that's happening this year is brand new, never been done before. Belleville's 8th season in the American Hockey League, and for the first time ever, they're going to do what a fair amount of their colleague clubs in the American Hockey League do, and that is play a game in the home of their NHL parent club. The Belleville Senators and the Laval Rocket will face off at Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa this season on February 12th. It's a Wednesday, but it's going to be an awesome occasion and a really neat chance to see the guys from Belleville play on the big rink and in a little bit of that NHL atmosphere, which is a little bit rare unless you get a call to the show or you're playing on Boxing Day for the Belleville Sens.
Yeah, that's amazing stuff. And there's a few Sens guys that have experience playing in that rink at Canadian Tire Center. Angus Cruikshank, Mad Sogard among them. And it's always exciting to have that atmosphere, that NHL style atmosphere with a lot of Belleville fans that I understand are going up on the trip too. So that'll be outstanding. And it's a little tough for fans, I know, to not have a home game on a Wednesday night in Belleville, but of course this is a big deal to have a game in Ottawa, and like you said, David, it's great to have that kind of atmosphere and experience, maybe something a little different for everybody.
Yeah, it'll be Sens Rocket, it'll be Sens Canadiens, it'll be Montreal Ottawa, it'll be Belleville Laval, it'll be awesome. Again, information on tickets for single game purchasers will come out in the next few months, but we can tell you that if you are a season seat member or you become a season seat member, you've got some options in terms of this experience, this opportunity. And option number one is pretty straightforward. The team is going to provide transportation to Ottawa for season seat members for that game. You just have to get in touch with your season seat rep. Make sure you let them know that you are interested in coming, and they'll get lists together and hire buses, and they'll bring out as many as we need to get our season seat members there. So that's the best news about that game in Ottawa for season seat members, is that if you want to go, we will provide transportation. You'll be able to utilize your tickets, take part in that experience. And if you don't, it's a Wednesday. Some folks might not want to make the drive. If you don't, you can just trade those tickets in, and you'll get tickets for another game here at CAA Arena that you can add on to the ones you've already got. So a win-win situation. And let's maybe talk about the opportunity for the players as well, Brock, because this is a chance for some guys, especially the younger ones, to get a taste of NHL life to a point and to see what that next step actually looks like, and to feel that and to be part of that. And it's so important.
Yeah, using the facilities too is another thing, and getting up there and getting an opportunity. It's almost like we talk about it's a home game for Belleville, but it also kind of mixes in a bit of the road life atmosphere as well, because you're likely going up the day before, you're getting relaxed a little bit, getting some ice time as well during the morning of game day, and then getting at it again. So it's almost like you play the game. It's kind of a weird situation. You play the game at home, like a home game, but because you have last change and everything, but it's also kind of like the road style atmosphere where you're going on the bus and you're going up there and making it feel like you're on a trip somewhere, so guys can bond together closer. So it almost seems like you're right. It's a win-win-win all the way around, and the fans get an opportunity, season seat holders in particular, to see the guys and see them in a big rink. This CAA Arena has been an outstanding facility for us here in Belleville, but up in Ottawa is very interesting just to see what some guys will react to in front of 17,000, 18,000 seats.
Yeah, and the guys who were with the team in the COVID season, the true COVID season, the Cole Reinhardts, the Angus Cruikshanks, Mad Sogard, who came in at the end of that season, they spent that whole, and I'm using my air quotes, season in Ottawa. So, it's nothing new for them. A few of these guys have played preseason games in NHL buildings, and some have obviously played in the NHL already. But, it's a trend that we're seeing across the league. The Toronto Marlies play multiple games at Scotiabank Arena every season. Belleville's going to play 2 at Scotiabank Arena this season. One is in November. I believe it's the 16th. It's a Saturday afternoon at 1:30. The other is the usual Boxing Day Classic on December 26th. So this is a trend that we're starting to see. And I think for Sens fans in Ottawa, just a nice opportunity to have the prospects come to them and to be able to expose the American Hockey League product to those fans in the nation's capital that maybe haven't ventured down the 401 just yet.
Yeah, and it seems like also with Ottawa fans too, it's kind of become more of a taste of what they saw a bit last year. Again, I know there's people that follow prospects quite frequently that are in different fan bases in the NHL, but for a lot of Ottawa Sens fans, the Belleville Sens little run there they went on late in the season, then into the playoffs, was probably the first time they really kind of zeroed in on what Belleville is doing, and they realized that this is a pretty darn good AHL affiliate organization, and it's so great to have that, and even for the coaching staff too. Dave Bell getting some time on the NHL bench is certainly going to be nice for him, and of course for new assistant coach Stefan Legion and Andrew Campbell as well as the rest of the staff too, because it's nice to have that kind of big game atmosphere. And it's, like I said, as we saw last year late in the season in the playoffs, the CAA Arena brings big game atmosphere as well.
Yeah, so again, that is February 12th. It's a Wednesday. Once more, if you are a season seat member and you would like to attend that game, just let your season seat rep know, and they'll make sure you've got a seat on one of the buses that are headed down. If you're not a season seat member, become one, first of all, and then you don't have to worry about it. Second of all, if you're not a season seat member, but that game is piquing your interest, just stand by, and in the next month or so, we'll have all the details on single game seats. Lots of exciting stuff happening here around the Belleville Sens. Again, the schedule's out. That's what we're chatting about on this off-season update. One of the best parts about schedules coming out is all the schedule release videos that we see from across the American Hockey League and other leagues. And our video guru, Garrett Harvey, is going to stop by in a few minutes to chat about our schedule release video, a cute little partnership with the Humane Society, Hastings, Prince Edward. So we'll talk to him about that and maybe see who else had some good ones that are worth your time and digging up on this off-season update of the Belleville Sens podcast Season 2. We already said, Brock, February is going to be the busiest month. Breakdowns by day of the week. The Sens are going to play at least one game on every day of the week this season, which is kind of neat. 2 on Mondays, 1 each on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 14 Wednesdays, 22 Fridays, 26 Saturdays, and 6 Sundays. So that's the day of the week breakdown if you're one of those folks who cares about such things. Yeah. And some people do,
Yeah, hey, busy times, you got to plan. Yeah, and this is what the whole point of the schedule is, like getting everything planned out. And if you work on late on a Friday, can't go to the game, you choose a Saturday, you choose a Sunday afternoon, better yet. So all in all, it's all about planning, and that's exactly what I'm doing now, just punching in holes and filling in gaps in the schedule and getting ready to go. Yeah,
speaking of those matinees, we will play 4 of them here at CAA Arena this season. Sunday, October 20th, which is the day after the home opener, that's against Syracuse. These will all be 3 p.m. starts as well. So Syracuse here on Sunday, October 20th, Utica in on New Year's Eve, a New Year's Eve afternoon game. That'll be a great way to send out 2024, welcome in 2025. Excuse me, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins are here on January 12th, and on Family Day, Utica's back again in February. The last matinee is Sunday, March 23rd against the Cleveland Monsters. So plenty of opportunities to get out in the daylight and see the Sens in action.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 o'clock start, too, and getting some good opponents as well to watch. The Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, that's going to be, I'm looking forward to that one because the Penguins always have a great, just a great overall brand. And for, of course, Belleville Sens fans last year, Bock will return in that game, so that's pretty exciting. And, of course, the Family Day game. New Year's Eve, too. That's an interesting one, an interesting choice to go with that ahead of a New Year's Day afternoon game. So it's a good idea, and it gets some kids out who are off on Christmas break.
I feel like I'm going to hack up a lung. We're going to take a break. We come back, we'll talk to Garrett about schedule release, and then schedule release videos, that is. And then Brock and I will figure out some more highlights we want to pass along from the 24-25 AHL schedule. Belleville Sens podcast Season 2 off-season update returns in a sec.
Stay ahead of the game. Plan now for the next season of Belleville Senators hockey. 2024-25 renewals and new seat packages are on sale now. Visit BellevilleSens.com to receive information on pricing and learn about the exclusive benefits season seat members receive. Because you want to be in on all Sens hockey action. Plan to get in the game. More on season seat memberships at BellevilleSens.com. Go Sens, go!
Our first off-season update of Season 2 of the Belleville Sens podcast continues. David Foote and Brock Ormond here. We are breaking down the 2024-25 Belleville Sens schedule, which came out this week. And lots of good stuff on there. Again, one game at Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa. Season seat members will be able to go to that game. Just contact your season seat rep. 2 games at Scotiabank Arena. Bunch of afternoon games here at home. And a couple more games against some road opponents who are not too far of a drive away in upstate New York. So lots to talk about, lots going on with the schedule. And as we kind of discussed there in the first segment, one of the best parts about schedule release day is seeing all the different teams and how they announce the schedules. Some just will put out a press release, some will put up a graphic. We're starting to see, though, the trend of these videos going out to announce who you play, when, and where. And ours was pretty good this year, I got to say. I was pretty pumped with how ours went. The idea was more than a year in the making, and the man behind our schedule release video and all the other video content you see around the Belleville Sens socials, around CAA Arena, Garrett Harvey is with us this week. What's going on, G? How's the summer treating you so far?
What's up, guys? Yeah, no, it's been good so far. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have too many players to talk to right now. The office is real quiet, and we figured we talked to the sales guys a couple weeks ago when you guys were in Chicago. What better time to catch up? Because you and I don't cross paths too much during the season because we're in our respective little rooms, and now we've got a little time.
Yeah, no, it's no better time than the off season.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the schedule release video. Like I said, this was an idea that kind of was floating around the office even before last year's video, I think. Take us through the process and getting this thing done.
Yeah, it kind of popped up, I guess, maybe around this time last off season after we'd already done our last one. And the idea was, I think originally it was supposed to be involved with the players, but obviously, when they're still here, we don't still know all of our opponents, so it was kind of hard to. You'll always know you're going to play the Rocket or the Marlies and things like that, but you don't know the out of division or out of conference teams you might play. So that was a little tricky to plan out, but the bones were still there. So yeah, as soon as we had our list of opponents, we reached out to the Humane Society here locally, and they were more than happy to participate and lend us some adorable animals. So we jumped on the old Amazon and found as many costumes as we could that were kind of relevant. And yeah, I think it's one of those videos that it was exactly that how you envisioned it in your mind.
Yes.
So that's always a feel-good moment.
I was gonna say, like the planning process of these things, it's pretty in depth. Like first, you want to do something unique that nobody else is doing, and that's almost impossible in this day and age. And then you obviously want to do something that ties to the community, and you want to do something creative that identifies your opponents, which we found out is not a super easy thing to do, especially when if fans don't understand the scheduling process. Like we announced it this week, we got a schedule last week, and you're trying to basically put the finishing touches on this thing inside of a 7 or less day span.
Yeah, I think one thing that maybe not a lot of people realize about the AHL is it's not the NHL where you're guaranteed to play every team. So that's just not a reality here. So you don't know who exactly you're going to play, like I said. So yeah, the planning is it's a little more in depth, and for me it was kind of a little nerve-wracking because obviously you don't want to be still editing the day of release. So,
yeah, pretty strict deadline.
Pretty strict deadline, yeah. It was 2 o'clock. The league, I think, gave us about 3 go-aheads the day of. I was on edge, I'll be honest. I think our good friend Josh Hill explained it, put it as the marketing nerds Super Bowl.
Yes, it's a big
schedule
day.
Release day. It is.
It's the biggest day of the off season for us, frankly.
For sure. Yeah.
And again, because you're trying to stand out, you're finally getting to put out the dates, and things are going to pick up for the ticket guys as well. It's and lucky for us, this is like our 4th schedule release.
Yeah.
So it's not as
vets.
big a deal. Yeah. We got those Super Bowl nerves shook.
Exactly.
But I thought it turned out really well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed that, too, seeing all the nice animals there, getting an opportunity to be on camera and have their 15 minutes. And but the old saying is you don't work with, or it's tough to work with kids and animals. Was that the kind of the thing to deal with, dealing with all those animals that may have been running around and going crazy?
It was controlled chaos for sure, I think. Obviously, the staff down at the Humane Society, they know the animals quite well down there. So we just came in with a range of costumes and said, we've got a large, a medium, and a small. Who's going to fit in what? And they kind of were able to match personalities, I guess, which was really good. And they were super helpful. And I think they were a little worried about what it might look like, but I just said, put them down on the blanket and let's see what happens. And they shone through.
That's amazing. That's amazing stuff.
And these are all pets. If you haven't seen the video yet, it's on the YouTube, I assume. Head to our Belleville
it's on all our socials. Yep.
Yeah, all our social feeds at Belleville Sens, the Belleville Sens YouTube page, etc. And all these pets, or hopefully pets to be, are up for adoption as well.
Yeah, there's obviously a range of pets that we use. Rabbits, dogs, cats, even a rat. So they're most of them are up for adoption. Maybe some of them have been adopted since the video's been live.
We can only hope.
Yeah, you can only hope to good homes. But it's quite a facility down there. So if you haven't been down to the new Humane Society, I would definitely say head on down and see what they're all about.
Yeah, the Humane Society, Hastings, Prince Edward. You can find out more about what they're doing at humanesociety.hpe.ca. And yeah, like G said, if you're not familiar with the Quinte region, the Humane Society here has been in a dogfight, to say no pun intended, to get a new building, and it's taken them years and years, and they finally have this beautiful brand new building right on the corner of Highway 2 and Walbridge Loyalist Road. So if you're in the Bay of Quinte region, head over to the Humane Society HPE. To donate, cash, dog food, toys, whatever. They can use all that kind of stuff. And we were really happy to partner with them this year for this event.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully they were pumped to see us.
Anne was great to deal with down there. The whole staff, like I said, they were all super helpful and super happy that we got to be in there and lights, camera, action.
And again, if you want to see the Belleville Sens schedule release video on all the socials at Belleville Sens or on the B-Sens YouTube page as part of the Belleville Sens Entertainment Network as well. We'll keep Garrett Harvey here for a couple more minutes because, again, the schedule announcement is important for all of us to basically plan the next 8-9 months of our lives. How are you feeling about the schedule overall?
I think it's pretty good. Obviously, you and I see the schedule a little differently because you have them all and I only have half of them. But no, I think so far it's looking pretty good. I think there's really only 2 weeks where there's multiple game, like more than 2 in a week. Mm-hmm. So that, from my perspective, from game presentation, it definitely helps. A little bit more time to reset between each one. And I think they're all pretty spread out. Like from a fan perspective, I think it's going to be a pretty obtainable season, I think.
Yeah, it should be. Let's talk about the game press stuff for a sec. What do you do on that front in the summer months? Like, again, I think people sometimes forget that the lights don't turn themselves on and the music doesn't play itself and the show around the game doesn't happen on its own. And the planning for that is already underway.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's always a list of I guess, nice to haves and need to have improvements that need to go into the arena. So I think that was kind of step one for me as soon as the season was over, just to go back and see, what needs upgrading, what needs fixing, that kind of thing. So that's kind of in the process, obviously planning for the promo games that we've got. So we know our schedule, but our promo schedule is still kind of in the works right now. So it's just going through that and seeing, what assets we need to go in there, if we need specialty graphics, if we need to book, entertainment or groups of any nature like that. So that's really what the off season looks like for me is just getting ready for the next season.
Yeah, that's what we're all doing right now.
Yeah.
And we can get more ready because we have a schedule now. Yeah. And again, if you want to see that piece of work from Garrett or any of Garrett's work, head to the Belleville Sens YouTube page. It's all up there. You've got 2 weeks off, man. Enjoy it. Well deserved.
Thank you very much.
Try not to think about hockey at all.
I will try not to miss you guys too much.
All right. Garrett Harvey is our senior coordinator of digital marketing and
content and game presentation.
Content, it's changed like 8 times. Senior coordinator, content, game presentation. Garrett Harvey, again, all of his work on the Belleville Sens YouTube page. We'll be back with one more segment of this first off-season update of Season 2 of the Belleville Sens podcast in just a moment, so stick around.
Don't miss 1 second of Belleville Senators action this season. The Belleville Sens Entertainment Network is the only place to hear live coverage of the Belleville Senators for all 72 games plus playoffs. Pre-game coverage begins 15 minutes before each game with David Foote, and the network is also home to the Belleville Sens podcast, the Belleville Senators Entertainment Network, presented by Deer Haven Farm and Garden. Tune in on the Belleville Sens app or BellevilleSens.com.
All right, our final segment of this first off-season update of Season 2 of the Belleville Sens podcast. David Foote, Brock Ormond. Thanks again to Garrett Harvey for his time, and thanks again to the folks at the Humane Society, HPE, for helping us out with our scheduled release video this year. To the staff and the animals, couldn't have done it without you, so thanks. And again, Humane Society, hpe.ca if you'd like to learn more about what's going on, or even better, make a donation, or even better, adopt a pet from the Humane Society at HPE. We're talking schedule release. Again, information on single game tickets, etc. will go on sale in the next month or so. We can tell you that you can become a season seat member. Right now, you can put a deposit down for a group experience. You can jump on board as a corporate partner or with a business elite package. There are a pile of different ways you can get involved with the Belleville Sens ahead of this 8th season here in the Friendly City in the American Hockey League, and all of this momentum still carrying from the short but impactful playoff run back in May. And you don't need to waste any time. Head to BellevilleSens.com for more details. You can also find the schedule there. Brock and I are running over some of the highlights. We talked about the matinees, Brock. We talked about the off-site games. There will be a rather lengthy homestand for the Sens, a 7-game homestand from the end of March into the beginning of April, and then they'll have 2 5-game road trips this season as well. One late November to early December, and the other one through mid-April. Those long stretches of games are important. We talked about games at the beginning of the season being important. Obviously, games at the end are, but when you've got 7 games at home, or 5 games in a row on the road, these are opportunities to upset some teams away from home, or to really get settled in and try to earn as many points as you can on home ice in front of your own fans.
Yeah, and the AHL is very much a parity-driven league now. I mean, the Hershey Bears notwithstanding, the 150-plus games, they were an absolute unit all year last year. But any other than that, it's very much a parity-driven league, the AHL is. So you want to try and bank as many points as possible on those long road trips that can be taxing in terms of travel and bus time and hotel time and all that. So when you get a chance to make it all worthwhile by winning 3 games out of 5 or 4 out of 6 and banking a bunch of points, then it's all great. And of course, the homestand too, when you get your fans out, and again, Belleville's fans have shown they can come out and really fill the seats and bring the noise, which they did quite a bit last year, in particular towards the end of the season, when the Sens went on that nice little run and then ended up making the postseason and played one of those wild card series, and that series against Toronto was unbelievable. So all that momentum, and you don't realize just how much that helps, and especially we saw it back during the COVID season when there was no fans. It was hard to players, they already have to get up for the game anyway and generate their own momentum, but you have to really get that extra boost, and the fans certainly provide that. So the homestands, hugely important, and they got Belleville, like you said, has got a big long one in March.
Yeah, that homestand starts March 14th against the Bridgeport Islanders. That's the AHL affiliate of the New York Islanders. Just released a new logo, might add. It's pretty nice. Just the old fisherman logo, if you're familiar with the old New York Islanders uniforms. So that 7-game... where am I looking? I'm looking the week ahead. I'm looking at the stretch that's like 10 of 11 games at home just before that 7-game homestand. So March 14, 15, and 21, the Sens are home. They head to, and the 21st is the start of that 3-3 we talked about. 21st at home to Toronto, 22nd in Toronto, and then the 7-game homestand starts at the back end of that 3-3 against the Cleveland Monsters on Sunday, March 23rd. Monsters stay in town for a couple days. They play again on the Wednesday. Lehigh Valley in on the Friday. Toronto in on the Saturday, March 29th. and then the following week, Wednesday against Syracuse, Friday, Saturday against Rochester. So even in that homestand, 6 of the 7 games are divisional games. And then Belleville goes off on a 5-game road trip after that before finishing the season at home against Laval. So that's going to be a really, really critical stretch of the season, I assume, as it was this year.
Yeah, the head-to-heads are going to be so important, and because if you don't get 2 against your divisional opponent or divisional rival, then that's 2 points gone, and your magic number just keeps shrinking and shrinking. So it's important to really get those points and wins against anybody, but in particular those Laval, Toronto, Cleveland, Rochester, Syracuse, Utica, all those teams that are going to be always so tough to face. And Belleville proved they can hang with those teams last year, and in fact they were obviously better than a few of those teams last year, in my honest opinion. So those long homestands in particular, getting points on your own home ice with last change, with your home crowd behind you, it's so invaluable, especially when you get into that big push down the stretch.
And like Brock mentioned earlier, we really did see through the stretch drive in 23-24 how big of a difference the crowd here at CAA Arena can make. So we're hoping to have a full building on October the 19th for the home opener. Again, the season opens on October 11th in Rochester, the 12th in Syracuse. If you're able to make the trip across the border, it would be great to see some black and red in the stands for those couple of games. The February 12th game at Canadian Tire Center is a huge highlight. Again, season seat members will be able to go to that game and get transportation here from Belleville, no problem. One visit this season from Lehigh Valley, that comes on March 28th. One visit from Providence, that comes on October 30th. They're the only new opponent this year. Manitoba Moose are still on the schedule for the Sens this season. Belleville goes to Manitoba at the start of December, and the Moose come here at the end of February. So, there's a lot of games, as there always is, but it does look like a relatively favorable schedule for the Sens, and we're hoping they can make the most of it. One thing we haven't talked about yet is the preseason. Kind of tucked into the announcement of the schedule yesterday was another announcement that the preseason tournament series, maybe, if you will return to CAA Arena. And if you've been following the team for the last few years, you know that this was kind of a regular thing for a few seasons. Belleville, Toronto, Laval will all play preseason games here at CAA Arena on October 4th, 5th, and 6th. Belleville will play on Friday the 4th and Sunday the 6th. Toronto and Laval will play each other on Saturday the 5th. Again, season seat members will get tickets to those games added on to their packages, no charge, and we'll have more information on tickets for that weekend coming up again in August, September, once we announce our ticketing details for the season. So lots to look forward to. Is there any matchup you're maybe most excited for, Brock?
Toronto, Laval, that's pretty much a given. Those teams are unbelievable. They bring a few extra people in, but the Sens fans show up, and it's a passionate rivalry, and both of them. I'm looking forward to seeing those games for sure, and also nice to see Cleveland again, just to see what Belleville can do against them as a bit of revenge from last year's playoff ouster that the Monsters delivered to Belleville. But and I mentioned Wilkes-Barre Scranton earlier with Boku Amama making his return back, so that'll be exciting, a fan favorite from last year, and always look forward to seeing the other Canadian team that comes this way, the Manitoba Moose. They're an exciting opponent, and they always are well run, and everything's great. And Providence, of course, too, because given that they haven't been here for a couple years, I'm excited to see how it transpires in that game between the Bruins and the Sens. That original 6 affiliate rivalry will be really interesting to see.
Again, you can get a copy of the schedule at BellevilleSens.com. We've got downloadable, printable schedules, the desktop background schedules, phone background schedules, all that stuff to come in the coming weeks as we start to inch towards the new season now, as the focus is turned to 24-25 with the schedule release. Again, you can become a season seat member, you can put a deposit down for group tickets, you can become a Business Elite member, or join in on a corporate partnership as well. Head to BellevilleSens.com for all the details to get involved. One more reminder to subscribe to the show. Not sure when Brock and I will be back next week, if something big happens, or else probably a couple of weeks, because I've got some vacation planned too. So make sure to subscribe to the show, and you can still toss us a rating. We'd appreciate that as well. With that, we will say goodbye on this first off-season update of Season 2, the Belleville Sens podcast. Thanks again to Garrett Harvey, to Brock Ormond for co-piloting with me, and to you for listening. We will talk to you on the next off-season update on the Belleville Sens podcast.